Some Temple Hills residents are concerned that they may soon be put out on the street. Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Rochelle Metzger.
And I'm Patricia Valone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Well, a Temple Hills condominium complex is in danger of being condemned. And if that happens, residents will be without a place to stay.
Storm clouds are drifting over the Lynn Hill condominium complex in Temple Hills. 2 7-story buildings may be condemned, leaving residents without a place to stay.
My rent is current, so I don't understand not, paying my rent on time and then March come up. I still have to pay my rent and be evicted.
The straw that threatens to break the camel's back is water. Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission says the owners of the complex owe them more than $100,000. And if it isn't paid soon, the water will be shut off. And if that happens, the county says residents will be evicted.
I don't know. I just hope that they pay it and we can keep it moving.
This building is like a hellhole. It's like treacherous, man.
Residents say the pace of repair moves slowly. The few who did speak with us on camera say the list of problems is long.
I mean, as far as the elevators never working, hallways, trash chutes.
Williams says elevators are unreliable, windows are busted out, and there is a huge island of ice that Williams says is from water leaking from the building.
I have no idea.
Most residents were not interested in talking, and neither was a man who appeared to be speaking on behalf of management.
What's happening with the water bill? Can you talk to us?
No.
WSSC says this won't be the first time the water here has been shut off. In fact, they say it was turned off last year because the complex owed some $90,000. But after making a payment and an arrangement, the water was turned back on. As of right now, the water is scheduled to be turned off on March 3rd, leaving a lot of people with an uncertain future. In Temple Hills, Byron Scott, CTV News.
And there are 200 units in the complex.
In just over a week, County Executive Rushern Baker will submit his fiscal year 2015 budget to the council. Today, Baker and CAO Thomas Himmler testified before the Prince George's delegation in Annapolis. Himmler says the county is in hanging-on mode, telling leaders that costs for things like supplies, utilities, and personnel are rising, while revenues are flat. Baker says that means making some tough funding decisions for next year, although education, public safety, and health remain priorities.
We're going to fund heavily in education, public safety, and health. But there are some things we'd love to put more money into. We have about $6 million for money for nonprofits. We've got about $20 million worth of requests. There's some great organizations out there that the county simply won't be able to fund. We just came through a snowstorm, so people are talking about roads being plowed. We'd love to have more people to do that, but that may not be possible either. So we're going to make some.
Meanwhile, the county is currently in negotiations with MGM Resorts International, operator of the future casino at National Harbor. Both parties say they're close to reaching an agreement on community benefits and could break ground as early as April.
Pretty good. I mean, look, we're going to bring 3,600 jobs to the county, and 50% of those jobs will go to Prince George's County residents. So it's just a huge economic benefit, $150 million in direct payroll and then benefits that goes to the state.
MGM is hoping to have the resort up and running by July 2016.
Some big names turned out to lend their support at a hearing on domestic violence today. State's Attorney Angela Alsobrooks and Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown testified before the House Judiciary Committee. It's considering several bills that would provide more protection for victims of domestic violence, including one that makes it easier to obtain a protective order by lowering the standard of proof needed.
It's so important. Domestic violence continues to tear apart not only our families, but our entire community. This year alone, we've had 5 homicides in Prince George's, which is, substantially lower than previous years. But 3 of those 5 have already been domestic-related homicides. And so this is an area that we really have decided we have to focus. There's really no such thing as too much. Committing acts of violence in the presence of children, we believe has an especially devastating impact and causes the numbers to continue to grow. So this is our attempt to try to break the cycle of violence that occurs by making sure that children who are the invisible victims of domestic violence are protected.
And the Senate has passed the standard of proof bill, along with another piece of legislation on domestic violence that today's House committee reviewed.
How would you rate Maryland's educators? Well, a research and policy group that examines how teachers are evaluated has given the state a D+. The National Council of Teacher Quality says Maryland has more work to do to enhance teacher requirements, changing tenure and performance policies. Critics of the report's conclusions say it fails to evaluate the correct criteria because it focuses on policies rather than teacher performance. University of Maryland officials say this week's breach of a school database is much more serious than recent cyber attacks on retailers like Target. In that breach, credit card companies were able to issue new cards to affected customers. The incident at UMD is different because the personal information stolen includes social security numbers, which are much harder to reissue. Students and staff affected can sign up for 1 year of free credit monitoring. Registration for that service starts Tuesday, February 25th. In addition, you can also sign up for Extend Care, which will provide support after that initial service expires. For more information and the latest on the investigation, log on to umd.edu/data security. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Rochelle Metzger.
And I'm Patricia Vallone.